President Trump weighing in, saying the final Mueller report should be made public. This as the White House and Congress are preparing for the report's release. Catherine Herridge has more on that. Catherine.
Well, thank you, John, and good morning. Based on our reporting here at Fox, the data suggests this is the end game. Our contacts report that there has been no serious or lengthy engagement with the White House since the president responded with written answers last November. And knowledgeable sources tell us that special counsel investigators are taking steps that suggest they are tying up loose ends. This morning's reporters camped outside the special counsel's office in Northwest Washington. The Associated Press capturing this image of Mueller pulling into his downtown garage at the office. It is his custom and routine to often drive himself. Mueller has not commented on the investigation since his appointment in May 2017, nor the timing of the report's conclusion. Next steps will be guided by these federal regulations known as 28 CFR 600. They explicitly state the Mueller report is confidential to the Attorney General William Barr and must outline prosecutions and what's called declinations. Those are cases where no criminal action is taken. The Attorney General is required to report to Congress and the public, but the federal regulations offer guidance and are less clear. That Barr's report should be in keeping with established Justice Department practices. And just yesterday, the president told reporters on the White House lawn that he would like to see the full Mueller report public.
I don't mind. I mean, frankly, I told the House, if you want, let them see it. Let it come out. Let people see it. That's up to the Attorney General. I think it's ridiculous, but I want to see the report.
That will ultimately be up to the Attorney General, William Barr. I would note that those close to the president's legal team are expressing growing confidence that the Mueller report will not show direct or concrete evidence of collusion, and they believe it may be an opportunity to use that report to justify refusal to cooperate with these Democratic-led investigations on the Hill, John.
All of Washington, all of us really are waiting for the release of that report. Catherine Herridge, thanks.
It was the longest speech of his presidency to date, and President Trump didn't disappoint. Let's take a look at some highlights from his wide-ranging campaign-style talk earlier today.
You know I'm totally off script right now. And this is how I got elected, by being off script. And if we don't go off script, our country's in big trouble, folks, because we have to get it back. And when I look at what's happening on the other side, I encourage it. I say, no, I think the new Green Deal, or whatever the hell they call it, the Green New Deal, right? Green New Deal. I encourage it. I think it's really something that they should promote. They should work hard on. It's something our country needs. Desperately, they have to go out and get it. But I'll take the other side of that argument only because I'm mandated to. I'm mandated. But they should stay with that argument. Never change. Never change. No planes. No energy. When the wind stops blowing, that's the end of your electric. Let's hurry up. Darling? Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling. And all of a sudden, they're trying to take you out with okay? Now, Robert Mueller never received a vote, and neither did the person that appointed him. And as you know, the Attorney General says, I'm going to recuse myself. And I said, why the hell didn't he tell me that before I put him in? How do you recuse yourself? But the person that appointed Robert Mueller never received a vote. Robert Mueller put 13 of the angriest Democrats in the history of our country on the commission. What we've done together has never been done in the history, maybe of beyond our country, maybe in the history of the world. They came from the mountains and the valleys and the cities. They came from all over. And what we did in 2016, the election, we call it, with a capital E, it's never been done before, and we're going to do it, I think, again in 2020, and the numbers are going to be even bigger.
Joining me now with reaction to the president's speech and so much more, a man who actually wrapped up a very busy week himself, CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp. Good evening, Matt.
Wow. Wow. I think that's the word humdinger, maybe.
Well, I got to tell you, he had that place on his feet. Oh. But more than that, didn't he just come off a plane after having traveled halfway around the world?
Something like 40 hours in the air and less than 40 hours on the ground, and he comes right, as I said in my remarks, he walked away and walked right over to CPAC.
Yeah, he did.
Which was just awesome.
And you should have felt great. I mean, you run CPAC. You're in charge of it. You had how many speakers there this year?
About 200 speakers. We had half the cabinet, a bunch of West Wing senior staffers for the president. We obviously had the president and the vice president.
You had a lot of good speakers there this year.
A lot of great speakers. We had Van Jones, which was interesting. Well,
I want to talk to you about Van Jones. Yeah. I do want to talk about the president first. Look, the president gets off the plane. He delivers what many of us believe to be the longest speech he has ever delivered since he's been the president. And he's full of energy. And there is nothing that he didn't cover in that speech. He covered everything. Did he say to you, look, Matt, I'm a little tired. I might not be able to do this?
He talked ahead of time, and he had this funny thing where he said, hey, have you ever had someone say that they're actually not going to keep their commitment? I was like, oh, yeah, I sure have. He goes, don't worry, I'm going to be there. But, you know, it's been a real busy trip, and let's see how it goes. I don't know if I'm going to really be energetic, and he was pretty energetic. And then when he got done, Judge, he was ready to keep going. I bet he could have gone another hour.
He definitely could have.
He feeds off the energy of those college kids. You can see he just loves every minute of it.
Well, he always feeds off the energy of his audiences, and that's why I think he should get out of the White House and just go out there and talk to the people of this country, whether they're college or whether they're senior citizens. He is of the people. But let me ask you this. Van Jones. Now, here's this guy who was a drug czar. Wasn't that what he was?
Something like that.
And he works for CNN.
Green energy czar, yeah.
Yeah, some czar. He was a czar. I think of drug czars because that's the only thing I'm accustomed to from my background. But how did he get at this conservative political action committee? Did you invite him?
We did invite him, and the reason is because we've actually worked with him on criminal justice reform, which has been a big initiative of the president's. Sure. And Van Jones is one of the liberals with character, I'll say, who, when the president does something right, he supports him. And that's almost like a lost cause with liberals. It's hashtag resistance. They hate everything about him.
Well, but okay, so he came and gave credit where credit was due in prison reform.
He did.
Did he say anything about getting pushback from the left?
Yeah, he said he was
already.
Yeah, he said he was going to take it for being there, and he sure did. I watched the Twitter, and some people were pretty brutal, and I don't think he cares because I think he believes he is character. And when the president does the right thing, he believes he should support him.
All right. Now, you do this every year.
We do.
And who is it that you plan or that you intend when you start the conference to bring? And what is it that you expect them to get out of this?
Well, the big thing in the last 5 years with CPAC is to try to bring some unity to the conservative cause. You know, when you have President Obama in there for 8 years, that left us in shatters. Now, we knew we didn't like what Obama was doing, but we didn't seem to be able to come up with a playbook. We tried McCain. The Republicans tried to nominate McCain, then Mitt Romney. None of that was going to get anything done. And then we had that primary in 2016. I think CPAC had a big part in making folks realize that politics for the Republicans needed to change and change fast, because they were never going to win again.
Well, and you know, we should learn from the Democrats not only how to stay cohesive, but also, you know, how to you know, circle the wagons when somebody comes after one of us. But that doesn't happen. And I think, lastly, I just want to ask you, I mean, you've had the president for the last
3 years.
3 years.
That's right.
I mean, that's pretty, it says a lot for you and your organization.
Reagan spoke every year of his 8 years. The difference is with President Trump is it is a central part of how he explains to the American people what he wants to do. and the vice president comes too, and he gave a great indictment of
Mick
socialism.
Mulvaney, I was very impressed with him. He had just gotten off the plane. He kept saying, I can't think of words. I'm exhausted.
I might be as exhausted tonight as Mick Mulvaney was on Friday, but
well, you
I don't
should
know.
be. You did a great job.
Thank you,
Match lap. Thanks so much.
We are awaiting the final report from special counsel Robert Mueller into possible Russian collusion. The president says that it will be up to Attorney General Bill Barr to determine just how much from the report will be made public. Joining me right now in an exclusive interview is former Whitewater independent counsel Ken Starr, also a former U.S. Solicitor General. Great to see you, sir. Thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Oh, my pleasure, Maria.
First,
thank you.
On the Mueller report, what are you expecting? What should we be looking at once that report does drop?
I think we should go back to what Bill Barr said in his confirmation hearings, Maria, and that is he is going to receive a confidential report. Now, the word confidential has to have meaning. That is what the regulations say, that he, Bill Barr, will make the determination of what goes up to Congress. So we're behind the veil of ignorance. We don't know. But I think we're already seeing indications, especially from the Michael Cohen testimony, the way that entire episode unfolded is there may be less to the Mueller report as it's publicly available than meets the eye. He may also just say there's no, first of all, he presumably will say no collusion because as far as you well know, there's been no evidence of collusion with the Russians.
Right. Well, what about what we've been talking about all morning with Devin Nunes, Carolyn Maloney, the fact that there was wrongdoing, there have been criminal charges inferred or suggested by the Inspector General for Andrew McCabe. Will we see accountability? What does that mean, criminal charges refers?
Right. It's a process that simply has to unfold. I know it's frustrating on this side of the process until those decisions have been made. But one of the things that we saw this week was just a remarkable set of questions, and now that's what the conversation is about, from Michael Cohen. And one of the things that's not being, you asked Congresswoman Mahoney a bit about this,
right,
which is credibility. The first thing you ask about a witness is the witness credible?
Right.
And there are serious issues of credibility.
Well, we're going to talk more about this.
Is,
we've got an extensive segment with you coming up.